Hello and welcome to the DCG development update. We are here with the core, the mobile and the platform teams to give you an update of the past 2 weeks. We are planning this session for a 60-minute session, and at the end, we will have a dedicated Q&A session. So if you have any question or comments, please use a Q or question prefix, and we will try to answer them at the end. Without further ado, let's start with the platform team and Sam.
Hello, everybody. It is I, Sam. So what did we work on? We had Paul Lukash and obviously our dear friend Claude, AI, working on Dash Evo tool. SDK work for mobile was worked with on by Pasta, and again, I was working on some other thing that I will talk about a little bit later. Oh, one thing that I'm missing out here is that I also worked on GroveDB. For me, just I only worked half time over the last 2 weeks. I had to take a week off for the first time in a very, very long time. So a little bit less from me, but still quite a lot. And I hope people will enjoy today. So how are things going? Well, not much to talk about here. Everything is going very well. We had a successful activation on the 13th of July. I think a lot of people are probably not using tokens yet because they don't know how. We will be launching a page that tracks tokens at some time in the upcoming future. So you'll be able to see what's actually going on with tokens. I think there's more work on Platform Explorer going on as well from Shemnik's team. So, as time goes on, we'll see a lot more token usage and just stuff happening there. But for now, let's talk more about other things. Lukasz, you wanna talk there?
Yeah. So in terms of tender, there's not much done on the release of 150.3, which is on testnet, I think, or will be on test, or contains like fixes that we use on testnet. In terms of platforms, on Dashmate work to configure the MQ message queue so that it can be exposed to other hosts. So the goal was to connect from Dash Evo tool to local network that is inside some containers or on a VM or on a remote machine. We needed to be able to connect to that through ZMQ protocol remotely. And some synchronization of consensus parameters. I already mentioned that in the last summary, so I think that it's just finalized. And some maintenance work to merge all the changes from our tags into that one. So that's it in terms of Tender Dash and platform. And on the next slide, we have some things about Dash Evo tool, where basically I worked on refactoring that structure to take everything together. And if we use something like, I don't know, amount input on multiple screens, I'm working to refactor that code and put it all into one component that will just do the job of getting the token amount correctly everywhere in the same way. So that's the high level idea that basically if we do the same operation 3 or 4 times, we should just have it centralized. Then we should spend some time on making it nice and working and validating and displaying errors and all that stuff. And then reuse that component everywhere where we need. And that's the area where Claude is really helping, because that's basically his task. I'm just helping him to go through the code and to refactor and to extract existing logic into into some reusable structure. And also I did some bug fixes because I'm going through the to-do list that we have for Dash Evo 2 and slowly close ticket after ticket. So things were like collapsible headers. When we have in Dash Evo 2 a header with arrow, you had to click on that arrow to open what's collapsed under that. Right now, the whole header is clickable. It was really annoying for me. And I guess also for others, so it's fixed. Dash Qt path auto detection was an issue again, and it should be fixed. That's requested by community because people had really issues with that. And other fixes like wallet address updating on wallet change. So if you have multiple wallets, there were some glitches basically when we're switching between wallets loaded into DIT into Dash Evo tool, and it's fixed. And also some Rust dependency updates and Rust version 2 or addition to 2024. It's done. So that's pretty much it on my side. Quite much done, I think. Very productive 2 weeks. And yeah, that's what's pending. Paul?
Thanks, Lukasz. Yeah, so since the last review, we released v0.9 of Dash Evo tool. I think the main big things there are that we have the UI overhaul and enabled tokens on like token stuff on mainnet, plus a bunch of other just general improvements, trying to improve UI, UX, and stuff. Lukasz did a ton of what's the word, QA, and yeah, it was good to get a second pair of eyes on Dash Evo tool like that, and we were able to just make a ton of improvements. So yeah, v0.9 is a big step up from 0.8.5. And then we shortly after released v0.9.1 with the main fix was this Dash Qt auto detection. I think a lot of people were running into this bug when they started Dash Evo tool where it couldn't find their Dash Qt file path basically. So Lukasz fixed that, and we included a couple other minor bug fixes. Yeah, besides that, I've been focusing on implementing that SPV client into Dash Evo tool. Yeah, so the current status is that sync is working from Genesis. I know that Pasta is working on syncing from checkpoints, and maybe you're done with that now, Pasta, but sync from Genesis is working well. It's working well. Yeah, I think there's some things that could be optimized, but that part is working well. And next is basically doing like enabling state transitions and queries. And that's what I've been working on for the most of the last 2 weeks. It's kind of complex, and to be honest, I was hoping. Well, I tried using Claude Code for like most of it. Well, at first I was trying to use Claude Code, and it can't like figure it out for whatever reason. Maybe it's like the async nature of what we're doing here, but I kind of gave up on using Claude to get it working. I'm still using it to like help me write stuff after I like find the problem myself, but just it cannot debug this stuff at all. So yeah, I mean, there's one thing that it can't do. But yeah, I got queries and state transitions working again, although it's very fragile. There's deadlock issues and stuff, and synchronizing issues. So basically, I'm going through that and trying to optimize it and fix stuff and just make it work well. It's like working now under perfect conditions and working sometimes. So like basically just trying to harden it up and yeah, I mean we will have it soon. We'll have an SPV client soon. So it's pretty exciting. You'll be able to just, without having Dash Core, you can just download Dash Evo tool and start using it right away. Just sync, I think in less than maybe less than a minute or a few minutes. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Dan?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about GroveDB version 4 that will basically be coming out with platform 2.1. And it's going to be a little bit more apparent why I want to make some GroveDB changes a little bit later when I talk about some features that I want to have done. So one thing that we needed in GroveDB that we don't yet have is the ability to retrieve counts of elements in count trees when executing a query against a proof. So basically, a proof will contain the information, but when you execute the query against the proof, it doesn't actually extract it properly. It never did. It never was a feature that GroveDB had. So I wrote that feature, and that's now merged in. There's going to be a new tree type that I'm almost done writing called a provable count tree. Now, why are all count trees not provable? Well, if you do a provable count tree instead of a count tree, it actually increases proof sizes. So sometimes you want, I mean, everything is actually it's complicated. It's provable that it's in the state, even those that I don't call provable count trees, but this actually has a proof on every single node inside the count tree of the count at that node element inside the rotating AVL tree, basically. Pretty it's pretty I'm pretty deep dive here, and I'm going to explain kind of why this is actually really cool. It's because having a provable count tree. So I went kind of like deep dive on this about a week ago, and I realized, wow, we can do something really, really cool if we had this feature coupled with a bidirectional tree reference. Some other stuff that I had been thinking about last year that we never actually got around to doing. But if we have multiple of these things, we can do temporal halving queries. What does that mean? There's going to be an example later where I kind of have an actual thing that will show the use case for this, like an actual feature that will require this. But basically, temporal halving queries are the ability to ask platform, give me something that has happened give me something that has happened a lot in a recent amount of time. And to do that, you basically have to have the equivalent of halving queries. So you can say like where the count of something is very high recently. And like that's actually really, really hard to do in a decentralized database. But I think I've cracked it, and I've been working on this. So, it will be much more apparent why this is cool when I show the feature a little bit later. Okay, let's go on. So 2 weeks ago, we crossed out this When SDK to some extent, right? Like still some issues. We actually, I believe, just published a new, let me see if it's actually live. Let me see, Evo. It is not yet live. I told, let me make sure. No, it's not live. There's going to be a new Evo SDK published momentarily. I can actually probably, let's see if I can show people here what that entails. Let me share. Yeah. Where is my share button on Zoom? There it is. And where is Google Chrome? There it is. Okay. So I think it will share the entire Google Chrome, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So basically, what's new here? We have an advanced SDK configuration, so you can actually change your platform version from the latest to a different version, and then it will do things slightly different. And this allows you to make maybe tests versus a new version that does, something maybe like in the SDK a little bit more optimized or a previous version, and you can basically decide which one you want to use. It also allows you to put in request settings, so you can put a request timeout, you can do connection timeouts and other stuff. In the documentation, it explains more about this advanced SDK configuration. I also added a new query here for the DPNS query. So like, for example, if we do DPNS search name, so we can type in like a prefix to the search name. So like, let's say P, and we can just execute. So the default here, 10, and we can execute this query, and we will get 10 things, that's 10 names that start with P um, on the system, basically. So actually, there are only 8 names that start with P on testnet. And these are the 8 names, but you can do like, it does a search against it, it's proved, and it returns you the values. It also tells you now like how long it took to do the query. So this one took 2.1 seconds to query and get back the results. I mean, pretty fast. And what else here? Oh yeah, I mean, just to show that it's working, like we can put another one in name prefix 10. It's like test. So we had like a lot of people do test names, right? Here it's we put a limit of 10, but like if we put a limit of 15, I bet there's going to be more than 10. Yeah, so it continues on. And yeah, so that's basically DPNS search, just to show people how to use a starts with, right? And obviously the documentation is updated for all this stuff, or it should be. um, okay, so that is the SDK stuff that we did. And now I will, oh, I'm not sharing my video anymore. No. Why can't I? And it won't let me.
You are you are sharing the Chrome.
Yeah. Anyways, let me just go into the main thing. So I about 2 weeks ago, I started working on a little demo DApp that would highlight what we could do with the Evo SDK. And I'm going to share like a very early preview today. Now, please understand that this is extremely early and there's a ton, I mean, it's very early, but it does highlight some of the stuff you can do. So welcome to Yapper. Welcome to Yapper, decentralized social platform where you build where you own all your data, your identity, and your voice, built on Dash platform. One of the things that I did for this is it is 100% vibe coded. I did not touch one line of code to make this. And I did that only telling it to review documentation and build things that are needed for this for the DApp. Why did I put those constraints on myself? Well, first and foremost, I want to make sure that anybody in our community could build the same thing if they just know like what to do, kind of, that they have a an understanding of the capabilities of the system, right? Which is not always the case. I kind of understand, but you don't need to know how to code to build this website, basically. The second reason is I don't like JavaScript, but yeah. So let's show kind of what's going on here. Now, there's a mix of real in here and not real. So like 10K active users here. It's all of this front parts are just mock data for now. And what I want to do and what I want to build, talking about GroveDB, is trending topics. So trending topics built in a decentralized platform without strong levels of compute needed is extremely a tough nut to crack. But I think I got it. I think I will be able to solve that problem. So what we'll be able to do is, you make posts. Well, I'll show posts a little bit later, but you'll make posts and you basically like post like, let's say Cancun, right? And then if a lot of people have gone to Cancun recently, in your trending topics, when you load this page, it will be like at the top, maybe because that is number one thing right now. Or, something in trending is like, what do we have? Dogs drool, cats rule. There you go. Or something like that that's taking the internet by storm. And you can see your trending topics. Yeah. So let us sign in and let me show this a little bit for now. Now, I did have an issue about half an hour ago, so I had to actually revert for the demo, and I'm not sure everything is going to work, but we'll see what works and what doesn't live. Right here, the way that you actually log into this when we goes live is it will be using your phone. So you'll just have your phone next to it and it will automatically work. It will also allow private key. Now, how I built this is that it stores the private key behind your fingerprint or your Face ID or any like biometric authentication when you insert it here. But still, this is not like very secure. You should never really be putting in a private key. It's just to kind of have a demo for now because we don't have, Bluetooth and mobile functionality yet. But yeah, so let's sign in. There you go. And these are all real posts, right, that I wrote today. So they are my own posts because right now I don't have any other users. But basically, like, this is kind of, there is a contract behind here and you can make a post. You can go like this and write something. This is a new post and you can post it. Now, one issue that we're facing is that there's currently the reason why I'm having a problem that I was trying to fix with the new version is that I was receiving timeouts, and it should be fixed in the new version, but this posting probably is going to take like 30 to 60 seconds right now. So that's basically the issue that that I'm going to need to deal with. I mean, it's in active development, right? Normally a post, when you actually make it and how fast platform is, it takes like 3 seconds. So don't believe, like, the post probably already is on you know, Platform Explorer. Like it's already in the blockchain. It's just not realizing that it happened immediately. So something that I'm currently working on, but I decided to show this demo anyways. If we actually look on Platform Explorer, well, let's just wait for it. We have like 30 seconds probably left. It times out after a minute and then it checks to see if it actually happened. So we just have to wait for it to time out. Oh, and Pasta, in the meantime, can you go to Platform Explorer and check to see if it happened?
For sure.
I did just check. It's been there for over a minute.
It's over there. Yeah. So you know what? We're gonna cancel this and then we're gonna oh, there you go. This is a new post, right? So basically, just we have a feedback issue right now, and that's the problem. Yeah, so that's one thing. You can follow people. So like let's go to following. Like you can search for people to follow. Paul, I'm gonna follow you. What's your username? I guess Paul. Let's see. Huh? Paul? Oh, here you are, right? Paul did not.
Yeah.
I guess so. There's another issue where if you put the full name, it doesn't work. You have to put I mean, another thing to fix. But Paul.dash, I guess this is you, right? On testnet.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I'm gonna follow you.
Wow, that's
And
so cool.
again, so basically, once I follow you, theoretically, your post will come in my feed and stuff like that, right? But again, in development and pretty early stages. But yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure if I just like refresh this, it's probably all push back to login, feed following. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so now I'm following. Oh, and it didn't get I mean, yeah, very early stages, but still, yeah, so let's see, followers. No, I don't have any followers yet, even though this page should work. And yeah, I guess like profile, maybe we have something here. I spent like more time than I wish. I wanted to create like an automatic avatar creator, and like I spent a day creating an AI that would like automatically create an avatar. And this is what I came up with, guys. So that did not end in success, and I decided not to take any more time on that. But yeah, so
What do you mean? I think it looks very representative of you.
So it actually like I think if you edit avatar, you have like sliders here that you can change. And it was yeah, it was a waste of time, really. Maybe one day it won't be. Maybe we'll be able to salvage that work. You can edit your profile. I think you can like update your bio. I believe this works. I am a cookie. Yeah, profile updated successfully. I'm not sure if that actually sent us state transition. Again, very active development, and only 1 out of 2 weeks out of the last 2 weeks were actually worked, and about half that time on GroveDB. So there's only 3 days of work here, and I believe for 3 days it's actually pretty good. Yeah, so the goal is we'll have like stats. We'll be able to do stats based off the aggregate trees, like the sum trees, the count trees, and all the various trees that we have. We will be able to do like, usage stats, and it will connect directly to platform. I'm gonna it actually already uses DPNS. And we have the domain actually, Yapper, yap.pr. We'll be using it once the development is, a little bit more underway. So this project is kind of like something like a use case where we continue development in parallel. Don't expect this out, in the next month, probably not in the next 2 months. It will eventually come out, but we want to see, okay, what are we missing in GroveDB, in platform, to have a complete system that, can do everything that a modern social media site can do, right? Maybe not everything, like maybe it can't store videos, right? Because you don't want to store videos in a blockchain. But the point is that, it's still pretty feature rich, and no other blockchain that I know of could actually pull this off. So there we go. It's going to be really cool once we have a little bit more I would not even say polish in, right? But a lot more stuff going in, right? So then you'll be able to connect to your friends that you've followed, and you can send them messages that will be encrypted on the system, of course. So you could, send people stuff. Like I could send Paul a message through here. Again, Explore. I don't know if this is done yet. Is Explore done? No, Explore is not done yet. I guess it just goes to login. Explore is basically, actually, I thought I had it. Is it really? No, it is. Okay, so you'll have like trending hashtags. Obviously this is all mock data, just kind of, trying to figure out what I want to achieve and what is missing in the system to be able to achieve that. Yeah, you'll be able to bookmark things. Yeah. What does the data contract look like? So this is kind of like a more advanced data contract using a lot of features, right? So we have like a profile, we have an avatar, we have a post. So we have likes, we have reposts, we have follows, we have bookmarks, we have lists. We have list member. We have block. You can block people. You can mute. You can do direct messages, notifications. Yeah. Again, very early stages, but I did want to show that like the WASM SDK works. Like, you can post with it. I mean, sadly, the timeout is causing a problem. It's not on every message. It's like 50% of the time. But yeah, we're almost solved that, right? And it also wasn't the case like a week ago, like or 2 weeks ago when we did the demos. When we made state transitions, they were immediate, right? This is a new regression that needs to be fixed. So that's about that. I hope people like this little DApp. We have other dApps in the works as well that we'll be showcasing in the upcoming weeks and months. And as development continues on here, we will be, giving updates. I am interested in community development here as well. If people in the community want to take, specific parts that they want to make look nicer, or they want to improve in any way, they can obviously help, as Yapper is 100% open source. Well, it will be today. I kept it closed source just until today because I didn't want anybody knowing about it in advance, but it will be open source as of 10 minutes from this meeting, after
And
this meeting.
Sam, I know the answer to this, but all of this is running without like a back-end server, right?
There's no backend server, yeah.
And
There's no backend.
so once you push this, it'll just basically like be hosted on GitHub pages, basically, right? Like just some static server serving up the HTML and JavaScript, but there's no backend or any actual
Exactly.
server that
Exactly. I don't think this has ever been done before, actually. Like, this is probably the first time that a complex site has ever been hosted without a backend
yeah.
directly off a blockchain.
No,
If
it's
anybody,
honestly really cool. I've been peeking on your progress occasionally, and I've been very excited for this demo, and you beat my expectations, so good job.
yeah, yeah. Once we get like, the more advanced things like trending topics and stuff like that, it's just gonna be ridiculous.
All right. Well, if you don't have anything else to add, my stuff won't be as interesting as that, but it is still important. A lot of stuff has gotten done over the last 2 weeks. I really wanted to get to a point where I could showcase like identity creation in the iOS wallet today. We didn't quite get there. There were some issues with the quorum sync logic and the masternode list sync logic that I ended up having to spend a couple of days to improve. But now that it has been improved, that sync process is a lot faster, so we're excited about that. But it meant I wasn't able to hit kind of my goal for where I wanted the actual iOS code to be today. But hopefully in the near future, we can get that resolved. So going back a couple of weeks ago now, feels like forever, but we implemented the legacy serialization in BLS full. I think I talked about this 2 weeks ago as in progress. It's been merged in now, it's done. And that usage has been merged into Rust Core. So these were actually relatively big kind of feature sets. They were pretty isolated, but they were relatively significant. This was really important for the build process for iOS. Building the C++ BLS library was kind of annoying in the context of Rust libraries and BLS and iOS. It was kind of hacky the way stuff was getting done. It required a bunch of like complicated build scripts, and those complicated build scripts failed when the target became iOS. So, in order to make progress on iOS, 2 weeks ago I had to resolve this, and all of that has been merged in now. The other thing that I reported is in progress 2 weeks ago that feels like it was 2 months ago, but I guess that's just with how much we're getting done. But anyway, 2 weeks ago I talked about work in progress fast sync from checkpoints. That's done. It's working now. So that's really cool. I'll show that off a little bit in just a second because Paul mentioned the time of sync, and I want to show the latest work. So I'll show that off in a minute. Um, so fast sync from checkpoints is done. We now properly, so previously we had basically a work in progress or a minimum viable product version of masternode sync list, masternode list sync. And so it was good enough to validate chain locks. We had the current lists, we fed them to the masternode engine, but we weren't really doing it properly. The masternode list engine is designed to basically say, here are the lists or here are the blocks and lists that I'm interested in. Please fetch them for me. We weren't doing that previously. We were calculating manually. Okay, we think these are the ones it wants, but there's some complicated logic there, and there's no point to duplicate that all. So we reworked how the masternode list and quorum list situation works, and it's a lot faster now because right, some of the very frequent quorums you only need the last day of basically, but some of the very slow quorums or the quorums that are very long lasting, you need multiple weeks of. But you don't need multiple weeks of all of them, and if you try to get multiple weeks of all of them, it's a lot slower. So Using this has made the masternode list sync process a lot faster, and I'm going to show that off. In some of the so as I'm working on this, one of the things that I'm focusing on is we have this existing iOS code base, and I want to leverage it as much as possible. So one of the things that it did very well was like fork checking and making sure everything was consistent, and making sure we're on the right fork and making sure we're handling forks properly. So one of the things that we did was implement that logic into this new kind of code base. However, when we did that, there was a performance regression that I introduced that made header sync start off pretty quickly, and then it would fall off a cliff because we were checking way too many things. If you get a batch of 2,000 headers and internally they all connect to each other, you don't need to check each of them to see if there's like a fork happening. You really only need to check the first one, and then all of the other ones connect to that first one, and so you can process them all as a batch. We weren't doing that, so stuff was doing basically 2,000 times more compute than it needed to, and that was really slowing things down as we got further into the header sync. That's been resolved, and that regression has been fixed. So I think that might have been some of what Paul was seeing in some of his testing, where sync was a little bit slower. So I'm going to be working with him to make sure he's able to get some of these improvements integrated. But so that's been done. There were some bugs in the checkpoint logic. Like a week ago or so, I had finished basically all of the checkpoint logic, but there were some bugs where in some of the logs or in some of the UI output or different stuff like that, it would show, let's say the height is 1.2 million and you started at 1.1 million, the app might show 100,000 because it forgot that it started from a checkpoint. So it just looks at what's in memory and says, oh, I have 100,000 headers. But that's not the real height. So a couple of changes were done there to fix some of those edge cases, or fix some of that UI stuff. It affected some like fetching of masternode lists, but that's been fixed and resolved now. The current thing, which I might have gotten working this morning, but I'm not sure. In like the thing that is, I guess, blocking right now to move forward with these changes related to like testing identities and whatnot in the iOS wallet was in the iOS wallet. You can have multiple wallets, right? And those wallets might connect to multiple different networks. And so they have completely separate core instances under the hood. I think they're shared per network, but like, your testnet instance of core is completely different from your mainnet instance of core, but the app allows you to have both of them. But at least like in development it does. But to use platform, it needs to know which network it's connected to, obviously. But previously, we had basically one global core instance that the platform SDK was trying to use. But when we actually do the sync, we were doing the sync on the wallet-based instance. And so there shouldn't be that global instance. It just shouldn't exist. It was like an artifact from earlier testing as we were getting things spun up. And so I'm reworking things right now a little bit in order to have the platform SDK properly connect to the correct core SDK. Right now, the thing blocking us is that platform is trying to request quorums, and its instance is saying, I don't have any quorums because it's using the wrong instance. So I was hoping to get some of that stuff wrapped up, but to make these improvements, I had to make the improvements I talked about earlier to the quorum sync process. So that's the current thing being worked on. And then once that's done, I'll be able to start properly testing document fetching, document submission, identity creation, that kind of stuff. In theory, all of that is done. It just needs stuff to get plugged together and tested. So that's what we are going to be working on immediately in the future. So I will do a quick demo for the sync here if I have the ability to show off the performance of the sync process. I don't know if Balash got a notification to allow me to or not. Cool. There we go. And then I have to find the right window real quick. Where is it? Is it this? Here it is. Okay. Okay. So you should be able to see this here. So this is just running the latest version of Dash SPV, and this is on mainnet. And I had Claude write a quick little run with timer bash script so that I can see how long stuff is taking in real time, but I can just run that here. And so right now, there is a small bug in mainnet where I haven't updated the peers that we are connected to. And so I have it connecting to a node on the local host because I haven't updated the seeds. But it's starting at height 1.9 million, and I think we have something like what 2.3 million in the chain. We'll see in a sec. So it's not and it's done. So it took 25 seconds. I didn't even have to fill as much time as I thought. So in 25 seconds, it synced all of the masternode this. There are some like warnings here. This is expected when we fetch quorums, especially on testnet. There are some really old quorums that we don't actually care about, but are technically in the list. And same with mainnet, actually. The old instance end quorums that we don't use anymore, and they don't get filled anymore. Because nothing replaced them, they're technically in the list. And so when we fetch, like, what is the current set of lists, we see this quorum in there, but this block is very old. And since we are only syncing from 1.9 million, we don't actually have that block. And so it just skips over validating that quorum, basically. So, but we can see here, we start out by sending a quorum a QR info, and we fetch all of the rotated quorum hashes in it. And then it also tells us basically specific MN list diffs that we need in order to have the entire list. And then we fetch them all. There's an error here that I need to fix. It's really, I mean, it is technically an error, but it's related to just phase transitions and how the like the state engine works. I think for some reason it doesn't want to go from this phase to that phase, but that is the proper logic. Um, so that's not really a real bug, but should get fixed at some point. But we can see here in 25 seconds, it synced how many? It synced over 400,000 headers, and it synced the entire masternode list in 25 seconds. So this could even be sped up more. If we look at where
That's
we were
insane, though.
at the beginning of the MN list diffs setup, right when we sent the QR info, we were at 24 seconds, and then we fetched them all, and we were at 25 seconds. So it
The
looks
new
like,
iOS app is going to be blazing.
yeah, yeah. So that should help Dash SPV a lot. And I believe this is actually haven't tested this fully from not from a checkpoint, but it should unless okay, there's not a bug on mainnet. Cool. So it'll sync from Genesis just as well. So super fast checkpoint sync works, or if you want to sync from Genesis for some reason, it's in 16 seconds. It's done 268,000. So, that is pretty solid. The second timer is from the old run. Anyway, so that's that. It's very quick. It's very performant. So, yeah, I really want to get the iOS stuff figured out. It's kind of a pain, but I've been I've been spending a lot of time at it. So hopefully in the very near future, like I said, basically the next step is to integrate the the platform SDK in the iOS wallet properly, and so that it's using the right core SDK. Hopefully, once it's using the right core SDK, everything just works and we're done. We might find some bugs that we have to fix, and some issues, but in theory, everything is there. We're just in the process of putting things together and finding issues and then fixing issues and then putting more things together, right? So, I was hoping I could demo some stuff in the iOS
Uh,
wallet, but
be
not
very
today.
careful of saying we're done. We're definitely not done.
Yeah, yeah, but
I mean,
a lot of
we'll
the
have a
complicated underlying
working,
logic is implemented.
yeah, we'll have a working wallet with platform functionality, but then we
Yeah,
have to hook it up to, we have to, the biggest complicated thing is translating the old system to the new system, right? So like when you open your wallet, um, it just works, right?
yeah.
That's going to take a few weeks.
Well, thanks for killing some time for me. So in just under 2 minutes and 10 seconds, we synced the entirety of mainnet. So that's very cool. Very,
Oh
very
God.
exciting to see.
J
Um, but
just FYI, right? If you did that right now on iOS from the entirety of mainnet, it would take about an hour and 40 minutes, I think.
yeah, so it's taking more time than I would like. I really wanted to be able to show some stuff off that was a little bit more user focused today, but this is still a very good step forward, and we're making solid progress. But um, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got on this side of things. So I can stop sharing, and Balash can. Balash is not here.
I am
He
here.
is here. Okay, he can reshare the slides, and I can talk about core a little bit now that I talked about Dash Pay and SPV stuff. So a lot of stuff was also done on core. I haven't been focusing as much on core. I've been, as tests are running or Claude is running for Dash Pay and Dash SPV stuff. I've been popping back to core and reviewing stuff as needed and helping out. But the rest of the team's been doing a great job. We got a lot of stuff merged this last 2 weeks. We merged in voting via the Qt governance tab, so that's going to be in the next major version. That's very cool. I'm excited about that. We merged in significantly improved descriptor wallet support. Mnemonics HD wallets are fully supported with descriptor wallets now. As far as I know, Constantine might correct me if I'm wrong, but descriptor wallets are now fully first-class citizens. Everything is implemented for them. Probably one more major version, they'll still be considered experimental, and then they might get enabled as default in the future. But this is just a improved way of um, basically the underlying kind of wallet logic was significantly improved in descriptor wallet support. One of the things I have been popping back into Core 4 more frequently is the automated agentic backporting work that I've been doing. So using Claude, I have a very detailed basically procedure and workflow that it goes through. And I haven't been spending as much time like helping it out and actually doing human review that I need to on some of these, but recently I got it set up where it'll basically run some of this stuff automatically. And I don't even need to watch it or anything. It'll just run in the background and make PRs, and then it'll run in the background and review the PRs that it made. And then once everything is done and approved, I can go in and do a final review where I say, yes or no, this doesn't make sense, right? Every once in a while, something will happen where the PR just it does something that is technically right, but we just don't need. And so I can mark it as, we don't need this and close it. So stuff like that. Sometimes it'll make a mistake that I have to catch, but the review process that is automated is pretty solid. So far, with this automated process, we've merged in over 100 backports into Dashcore Develop. Maybe not quite into Develop, but at least into a staging branch that is getting merged into Develop right now. So that's cool. Right now, there are 117 that are awaiting automated review, and now that I've set that up to be fully automated, that'll happen in the next couple hours or 5 hours or something like that. And then 24 of them, I or someone else needs to go in and give it a quick human review and then merge it in and then PR it into develop. So this is a really cool workflow. I think this is probably the first process inside DCG that is almost closed the loop, right? I don't have to sit there and watch it. I don't give it any feedback. It does it, and then we either merge it or we don't, right? Like I don't go back and forth with it. I don't monitor it. Every once in a while, I'll say, it's been failing with this pattern, like these types of things it's doing wrong, and I'll update like the instructions based on that. But we're trying to get to a point where, especially on some of these tasks that are not that complicated, but annoying to work on, they're not fun. They provide value, but they're not enjoyed from a developer experience. They're not fun to work on. We want to close the loop on those as much as we can, while still making sure, obviously, that we review them well. Backports are nice from this perspective because it's very easy to review them. It's still important to review them, but it's very hard for them to make a mistake because ultimately we can compare what they did and what Bitcoin did. And if they match or if they're very close, there's not a lot that we have to put thought into. Um, we have to do a quick conceptual review and make sure it makes sense conceptually, and then check that it didn't make any mistakes in the backporting. But so we're moving towards a ability to have more processes like this. This is one of the easiest ones to deal with, but ideally, as we're moving forward, there can be more of these types of processes where for easier tasks, we can basically just create an issue, have something happen, and get a PR, right? That would be great. So this is really cool. This is exciting work. Yeah. Um, anyway, I rambled on about that long enough. Um, Extended addresses are making solid progress. I think 6665 was merged in the last 2 weeks, and we're working on new PRs now to continue that implementation process. So I talked about descriptor wallets, credit pool withdrawals up to 4,000 a day. Qt governance tab is done, and 22.1.3. So all of that is very exciting. And I think we can move on to the next slide. So here we can see backport progress. Hopefully we can get this a lot more green in the coming coming weeks now that I've fully kind of automated some of this stuff with agentic stuff. A lot of them will still need, manual human intervention, but if we can get a good chunk of them, that would be very nice. So, but solid progress here. We can move on to the next slide. Like I said, we worked on quite a bit of stuff. So here's a list of PRs in the last 2 weeks. Some of those relating to releasing 22.1.3. Some of it, we removed GitLab CI. Our GitLab setup had been pretty old. It's been around for probably since like 2018 or something, and it used some deprecated stuff. It was kind of a pain to maintain. And we've been using GitHub CI and GitHub Actions for probably more than a year or two now. That has been working very well. We added a Claude.md to Dash Core officially. So now we all share a common Claude.md that has important guidance. We did some backports. There are a couple of automated batches in there. And is there anything else I want to talk about here? We fixed some circular dependencies, but that's not super interesting. And yeah, I think we can move on to the next slide. Oh, and that's mobile. Alrighty.
All right. Thanks, guys. Great demos. And I don't know if you mentioned it or not, Costa, but all that work that you're doing, it's not just for iOS. We'll be able to leverage that to make improvements on syncing on Android as well, right?
Yeah, so the whole design is right. Everything's written in Rust, and it's all very it's usable from any language because it has C bindings. So it can be used wherever it needs to be, and even there's a bit of a tangent. We'll see if we can make something happen with it. But if there was something like a WebSockets bridge, it could even run in the browser. It can't make direct connections to core, but maybe we'll implement some kind of WebSocket bridge or do something like that to allow it to run directly in the browser and do basically full header sync and validation. So that would also be cool, but we're not there yet.
Nice. Very good. All right. So on Android, we mostly finished what needs to be done to replace our Firebase invitation links. There's one last piece of testing that we still have to do, but that's mostly moved away from Firebase, so that's good. The save historical metadata backend work is finally done. That took a lot longer than planned, but that's been wrapped up. And then we were close to finishing the upgrade to Platform 2.0. We've recently noticed, since activation in particular, that there's some usernames are getting created. It's taking longer than usual for some username creation processes. So we got to investigate that a little further. Small crash fix on the CTX side of Dashbend, and a lot of good work on the Piggy Cards integration. The initial data load technically isn't just Android, it's for both platforms, but I just track it under Android. And that initial data load, the intent there was to be able to pull in the Piggy Card location data for just 3 merchants, basically, to keep it small, and be able to merge it with our existing location data with CTX to make sure we can avoid duplicates or identify duplicates, and let all the data play nicely, basically. The next phase of this will be all of their merchant location data, and getting it, in a scheduled way and a way to monitor updates. So that's the next step there. There's kind of 3 stages of the Piggy Cards integration. There's the data, management, there's the UI work, and then there's, connecting to the back end to the API. So most of the UI work, it says in progress for some, most of the UI work is done for both Android and iOS. We can look at in a minute, but the login via OTP, that's not just UI. We are, that's fully integrated, so the login works there, and it's the UI work for everything else. So that's it on Android. Go to iOS, a little bit less. We are losing resources on the iOS side, but I have been trying to prioritize as much iOS feature work, particularly on Dashbend, as possible, while we've got the resources to do that. So as I mentioned, all the UI work is essentially done. Once the data work is done, then we'll work on connecting the API fully to everything, and we'll start that on Android, and then hopefully once working on Android, hopefully it'll be a fairly easy transition with AI to get it into iOS is the hope. And that'll put us in a great spot, just especially marketing wise. I mean, we'll have 2 really powerful gift card solutions in both wallets, which is going to be great. So yeah, that's it on mobile.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to the questions. So the first question is, first 2 questions. Let me read them one after the other. How confident is the team that the new AI approach can replace mobile developers and allow DashPay iOS to actually be delivered and properly maintained? And the second related question is, if we find a good iOS dev candidate and can find funding, is there an open spot, or will a new hire be rejected? So first question, how confident that AI can replace mobile developers and allow DashPay iOS to actually be delivered and properly maintained?
Well, I'm gonna let Sam handle some of this, but to start out, AI is definitely not replacing people yet, but it's making it, except maybe for the very structured tasks like backporting that I talked about, which obviously we want to expand that ability, but outside of very structured and verifiable tasks, it's not replacing people yet. What it is doing, though, is it's making us probably 5 to 10 times maybe that's overestimating, but it's making us significantly more productive, and it's allowing us to do more in the same amount of time. And so we're able to hopefully do more with fewer people. But I'll let Sam handle the rest of that question if he wants to.
It's complicated, I would also say, because the thing is, you can actually get structure on specific things. For example, like if the feature that you want to do is not overly complex, I do believe that AI can replace it. Like, for example, if you have a change of design and you want to implement the new design and it's like pixel perfect, right? AI could do that, and then there could be a QA agent behind to make sure everything's working, and then have a quick human reviewer at the end. So I also think that AI is only getting better. Like in 3 months from now, there'll be more. I mean, in a few months, there'll be newer models and newer models and newer models that constantly are going to make this work better. I do think that we will want an additional um, developer slash uh, AI agent manager.
Reviewer, instructor.
Yeah, instructor. I mean, you need to know how to code, right, to be able to do this. But I don't want to do it too early. I want us to get something kind of in place to some extent um, on iOS and get that whole system a little bit more advanced to know what we actually need as a resource. I mean, as a person, right? Before we go out and start doing interviews.
Okay. So to the question, if we find a good iOS dev candidate and can find funding,
Well,
the answer is
right
we
now, like probably rejected in a month, probably not. It also
Mm,
depends on, a multitude of factors on, fun, like where the dash price is at. And I think Brian, you agree with what I'm saying, right? Like we would like an extra resource if we need it. It is also possible that, we get to a point and we realize that we don't need it. But I do believe that where we're at, we will still it is still a good idea to have somebody extra.
thank
I
you.
agree. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you said for the most part. I am a little concerned in the short term until we get to, that next stage. But yeah, we'll have to kind of play it by ear. And even if I mean, started looking now, it still wouldn't be, something that would be necessarily productive until a few weeks anyways. So yeah.
Yeah. The idea
Thank
would
you.
be, um, most likely start looking in September is my current. Yeah. Again, not really sure, right? But hopefully we're gonna have iOS out um, by the end of August is my goal. I'm just doing a few more days on JavaScript stuff, and then I'm gonna be going in and being full on iOS until it's released.
Thank
So.
you. Will these new updates allow the use of stablecoins on the app?
So currently, with 2.0, you can have stable coins. Just somebody has to make them. I mean, and stable coins are stable because they're backed by something.
Yeah,
And
usually a legal
you,
entity.
usually, right? Like people have said, "Oh, this is a stable coin backed by nothing." That hasn't gone very well most of the time. Um, but yeah, if you have an entity that's backing something, you could have stable coins on platform right now.
Thank
on
you.
Evo.
I'm assuming the new SDK will take over the Dash name on NPM, right? Is that what we will be published soon? I didn't see it 2 weeks ago. I don't think it ever got published, just in branch code.
Yeah, so basically that is what is going to happen in 2.1. So, 2.1, there's a lot of things going on at the same time, between 2.1, iOS, like we will get 2.1 out at some point, and when 2.1 is out, you'll be able to import Dash directly from NPM. Right now, you have to actually copy over the WASM. You have to build the WASM and use it. So it's a little bit more complicated. There is
And-
I think there's an explanation on how to do that. And also any AI agent can do that for you at this point. But it's not simple for just a developer who doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah. A follow-up question. If you use the Dash name on NPM, should we expect it to be 6.0.0 release?
I really haven't given much thought about it. If you have any suggestion, Ryan, just let me know.
All right. I think the other questions were answered already.
No gender on the avatar slider. Yep. People I don't think everybody got that reference. It's a reference to 2018 demo that happened. I'll just leave it there.
Oh,
Yeah. What
okay.
is Dash Cash? I think that one, it's Dash is digital cash. And
6.0.0 would make sense since it's a major breaking change to the SDK. Question. Will the app be able to enable stablecoins soon?
Mike, what app are you talking about? Are we talking about Dash Evo tool? You can make a stable coin right now with Dash Evo tool. So I don't know how more I can answer that. Like, the thing is, a stable coin has an entity behind it generally. Like Tether has, a bank where it stores dollars. So does Circle and various other stable coins. Or if you're talking about algorithmic stable coins, those aren't really backed by things and tend to have many issues. And we can't do algorithmic stable coins on platform. But for like the known, like more common stable coins, those can be done on platform if any stablecoin provider decided to put it on.
So technically possible.
No, technically it's easy even. It's
Yeah.
designed. Yeah, it's
But
designed
you would need a legal entity or someone to back that up. Hence it's stable. It would be stable. All right. I don't see any more questions. So thank you very much. Thanks for being here and joining our call, and see you in less than 2 weeks on Tuesday at a regular time. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time. Hopefully I will find the